Hello guys, I am back with another video. I love animals like most of you would already know, and I deeply admire how they are as living beings. I deeply admire how authentically animals live, and there are some lessons that I've learned with my time with animals and how I've spent almost my entire life surrounded by them. I used to have a lot of dogs at my house when I was younger, and then when I got older, I started rescuing stray dogs and injured dogs and cats and whatever else I could manage. So I spent most of my life surrounded by animals, and I grew to not just love them but deeply admire how they are in their innocence and in their clarity of what they want. And there are lessons that I learned from these times that I wanted to share with you because they seem of great value to me. The first lesson that I learned from growing up around animals and having at least one in my life at all moments is curiosity. Animals are deeply curious all the time. You will notice that even though some of these animals, like maybe a cow or a horse, maybe they are just looking for food or shelter, but they are always curious about what they would be about to find. Even cows, I think I used to feed cows because the animal's biggest problem is hunger. We as humans have so many other things to worry about, but animals just, they're happy if they're not hungry and if they're not in pain. And sometimes, we'll get to that. Starting with curiosity, I think curiosity is something that if we learn to have from animals around us, if you have a dog or if you have a cat or if you have any other pet, just notice how curious they are. And even in their curiosity, they are rather relaxed, they are calm, they are not anxious, they're just curious. I have a cat right now. I only have one pet at the moment, and that's a cat. And my cat is always, she's been around my apartment a million times, like in and around, walking through here so many times, right? But even now, if she sees a new box or a new bag of something or a new anything, a new smell or taste, or she hears something new, she's always so curious, and she calmly goes and navigates through whatever that is. And that quality is very childlike. And I think that is something that us as humans can greatly benefit from if we just acquire that quality of childlike curiosity within everything. When do our lives start becoming boring? When we feel like we know everything, when we've seen everything, when we've felt everything, right? But what if you looked at everything with a sense of curiosity? You would notice so much more. You would experience and feel and hear and see so much more because you are now interested in that thing. Instead of how you were sort of detached before, you would not even pay attention because you felt like, I've already seen this. Simple example. This also comes from a book that I read a long time ago. It's called Zen. I forgot the name of the writer, but it is the most beautiful book. Lovely drawings and illustrations by the author in the book, and it was about habits that make your life instantly more happy and joyful and interesting and livable. Right? And it had a very small, easy habit that you can put into anything, and that is putting an effort to do even the littlest of tasks, doing those with interest, and then seeing how that feels. You know, when you get up in the morning, you have your coffee, you go and you turn on the coffee machine, you have your coffee ready, or maybe you make it by hand, whatever, right? But you have this simple thing that you make coffee and you drink coffee. Now, what if you got up one morning and decided to make that cup of coffee with intention? What if you went into your kitchen, You actually put effort into how much coffee you're using, how much sugar or milk or whatever you use, and then making it with pleasure as if it was an interesting ritual, making it with curiosity. What if I add a little bit of this? What if I heat the water for this long? I mean, it can be anything, but just being curious and interested in that task. And once you're done with it, try to make it as special as possible, right? And when you have that cup of coffee, you're going to feel like you've achieved something. You're going to feel the relaxation that you were looking for but didn't feel all those days, because at that time it was just a simple task that you go about on the daily, right? Curiosity can make our lives so much more interesting, so much more beautiful, and so much more enjoyable. And it is such a small thing that we can just add to our mindset and shift our energy overall. The second thing that I think we can learn from animals and live much better lives is knowing when to rest. As humans, we have so much going on in our minds. Our mind is almost never at rest, and so our body is almost never at rest. We are doing this or doing that. Either our mind is rushing or we are rushing. We are rushing to work, we are rushing to other obligations, we are rushing to do things that we should actually do with a lot more presence and a lot more intention. Animals, on the other hand, know what they need to do. They do it without having a million thoughts in their mind, and when they're done, they rest. If an animal is injured, they rest, right? And because they rest, they don't really need a doctor most of the times. A wild animal I'm talking about specifically does not need a doctor to heal it 90% of the times. They don't have a doctor around them, do they? They just rest, they let themselves heal, and then they are better. See, the wild is a lot more dangerous than our daily lives and how we must need our rest. The animals will need it more because obviously their tasks are different. Maybe they're running around to hunt, maybe they are trying to protect their young ones from some other wild animal, right? And those tasks obviously require a lot more energy. But when these animals rest, they are just resting. If a deer gets hurt in the wild, they will sit in one place and not eat for up to a week. That's true, that's a fact. And their body will sustain them and their body will heal itself. And once they're ready, they will know and they will start to move around again. We don't do that. We think, okay, I'm hurt, and we keep rushing around. And even I have this problem sometimes that I feel like, oh, it's okay, it'll get better on its own and I don't need to rest. And that never works. I, some time ago, somehow had an issue with my knee where I used to go running, and I guess I sort of like twisted my knee in some way. I don't know what exactly happened. Never got an x-ray done or anything like that. But it wouldn't heal because I was constantly working. I was actually filming something and we were going up and down this mountain the entire time, and it didn't heal. And by the time we were done, I was dying. The pain had grown, and the funniest thing is, what it took to heal that much pain was so easy. It took 2 days, 3 maximum, some rest, and a herb oil that a doctor gave me that I had to apply to my knee once or twice a day. That's all it took to heal, just rest and something natural. It did not take going to the doctor and getting an x-ray. And I'm not saying that you should not do those things, but sometimes you need to ground yourself in order to heal, and that means to rest, and that means to not overthink every single minute that you spend resting, right? Another thing that I think we can learn from animals is remembering to breathe. Now, animals don't meditate. You don't see them sitting around breathing and, like in the Zen mode, but still they seem a lot calmer, a lot more peaceful. They seem like they are content with their life, they're satisfied. And why is that? Because they are always present, it's in their nature, it's innate for them. For us, not so much in today's world. If you have a pet, you are blessed to have one, and you should definitely just sit around with your dog or your cat or whatever you have, your parrot, your snake, whatever, and just let yourself be for however many minutes you can a day. Just let yourself be. If you're not into meditating, if you can't sit down and just breathe and like focus on your thoughts, I think you can at least sit with your pet calmly, without your phone, without a distraction, without anything, and just focus on being there and feeling what you're feeling, right? I think that can make a big difference and a big shift in how your energy is on the day-to-day basis. If you've been feeling stressful, just do this and see how you feel. I bet you're going to feel a difference. You're going to feel much calmer, much more relaxed, and that brings us to our next part of what you can learn from animals. Not taking life too seriously. We think every passing minute is an opportunity to do something great, right? And I'm not saying it's not, it surely is. However, every passing minute should not make you think in your mind, what do I do next? Where can I be next? Where can I put my energy? What do I see? What do I create? What do I do? You need to lay back, relax, and feel that life is for you to experience. It is for you, right? You are not for it. You are not for life. Life is for you. If you don't sit and enjoy it and relax and have a good time, laugh every now and then, you're missing out on something. You are supposed to not just work. You are supposed to not just earn money and pay the bills and grind. You're supposed to laugh. You're supposed to enjoy your life. You're supposed to love deeply. You're supposed to feel amazing. You're supposed to feel gratitude and even humility and the silliness of life, because it's all for us to feel. And what is life without that? I think happiness simply comes from knowing that you get to live this life and you can live it however you want. If you want to go to a mountain and meditate and do nothing else, in most cases you'll be able to do that, right? If you want to become some great businessman, woman, whatever, you can do that. And you don't have to emphasize and like scratch it onto a stone for it to happen. You just have to believe it will happen. But in the meantime, you need to let yourself relax. You need to let yourself ease up. I think grounding is the most important thing you can learn from an animal. Animals are always grounded. They're never up in the air, up in their head, thinking about something. They are always here and now in the present moment. And that is the most important thing. And that is why they're always happy. They don't think about tomorrow. They don't think about yesterday. And it's not like they have everything. Of course, we provide for our pets, but what about the stray animals? Why are stray dogs happy? Why are they playing around when they are not hurt or really hungry? Because they're fulfilled with life. If a dog's stomach is full and it lives on the street, but it's not cold and it's not in pain and it's not hot, they're going to be happy because they're living in the present moment and nothing is bothering them in the present moment, right? think this can be a really helpful video for a lot of different people. I think everybody can learn something from this. I think we are all always surrounded by animals. We really do not notice how much they can teach us. I mean, I believe that everything can teach us something, but today I specifically wanted to talk about animals because they've always been a great, big, huge part of my life. And yeah, I'm really happy I get to share this with you. I'll see you in the next one.